Hello everybody, I'm Lizix, and today I'm going to be showing you how to play Rock Band 4 Rivals in ShadPS4. This is going to be a little bit different than the previous tutorial. There's some things that have changed. Even if you are going to install 1.08, you might want to skim through this video to see what stuff has changed. But the older one still applies in some ways. The first thing you're going to need is ShadPS4, of course. If you are on a NVIDIA or Intel GPU, Intel graphics card, NVIDIA graphics card, you will need Rock Band 4 Deluxe and this custom build of ShadPS4. You will also need the custom build in general if you want to run Deluxe. From the custom build, you are going to want to download the Qt version for whichever operating system you're using. I'm using Windows, so I'll download the Windows Win64 Qt build. So grab either the custom build or mainline ShadPS4, depending on what you want to do. Go ahead and extract that wherever you want to. I'm just leaving it in the downloads folder because I'm lazy. Open it up. This is just going to be a real quick first things first. If you've never opened ShadPS4 before, it will pop up this window, or it's going to ask you where do you want the games and DLC to be installed. I'm going to leave the DLC default for now, and I will just create a games folder in the ShadPS4 folder and make it simple. There you go. Click OK. Now, if that doesn't pop up and you can't remember where your install folders are, you can just open the settings here and go to the paths. You can see the game folder and your DLC folder. And you can also create a user folder, which is where your config and typically DLC and other things is saved. So you can do that, and this will create a folder in the ShadPS4 folder. I will not be doing that, just so for people that don't do that, you can find the config files and other things from there. So just in case you are following with a portable user folder, just know whenever I say the user folder, it's here. For everybody else, just follow along. Now that you've got a games folder, next thing you're going to need to do is install the game. The easiest way to install Rock Band 4 Rivals is to dump it from a PS4. So get the latest update, and then run a game dumper, and that will dump it to USB. And then in this games folder, just copy the patch folder, rename it without the patch on the end of the folder, and then you're good to go. If you have it in package format, you're going to need PkgEditor, which is part of liborbit's package. Just grab the package editor, extract this. You got extracted, open it up, and go to either where you have your package. You can either grab your package like this by clicking File Open, or go to where you have your package downloaded and drag it in. Once you've got it dragged in, click Export to GP4 Project. And since I'm showing off the game here, I will just go to the Games folder, create a new folder in the Games folder, title it Kusa 02084 or 2901 if you have an EU build. Most likely you will have a US build. 2084 is the US title ID. Once you got there, open it up, click Save. This will take a while to extract all the files, so you can watch it happen if you open the folder. Just give this a minute. Once the extraction is done, you will see a notification that says package exported, and you will also see a project.gp4 file here in the game folder. Now you can close out of PkgEditor, and one thing you may have to do is in the SCE/SYS folder, if you do not see a Plago chunk.dat file, you will need to copy the one that you find in app and paste it into the SCE/SYS folder. Now the game is installed. Next thing you're going to need, especially if you are running a NVIDIA card, is Deluxe. So grab that from the Rock Band 4 Deluxe site. It's going to be the one labeled 2.21 currently. Soon enough, this will be the only download available, but until NVIDIA and Intel GPUs stop having issues on Rivals, the 1.08 build will still be here just as a holdover. Download 2.21 version. What you're going to want to do here is open the Goldhen folder, open the plugins folder, and open in a different tab of your Explorer, a different window, open the games folder, open the SCE module folder, and copy in the RB4DX plugin, PRX, there. You may, if you are on something that isn't Windows, you might have to rename this RB4DX plugin file to ZRB4DX plugin, because it needs to be the last thing that gets loaded by ShadPS4, or it is almost guaranteed to crash. Once you have copied the PRX file, you're going to have to copy some other things. So what you're going to want to do is go to your ShadPS4 user folder. You can find that in Windows by pressing Windows R, putting in percent appdata percent / ShadPS4. Click OK. Open the data folder and create a new folder here. Title it CUSA 02084. All caps, 2901, of course, if you are running a EU copy of Rock Band 4. Once you're here, go to the Rock Band 4 Deluxe zip file, copy the entire Goldhen folder. There you go. Next thing you're going to need is sys modules. This is required to get Rock Band 4 Deluxe running properly, because otherwise there will be a lot of bugs. To install sys modules, I will be showing you how to extract those from your console, because I don't think a lot of people go over this correctly. You can also find sys modules on the internet, I bet. So what you're going to want to do, turn on your PS4. It needs to be a modded PS4, jailbroken PS4. Once you've got that on and you've got your exploit running, go to the Goldhen settings, go to the server settings, and make sure, you can see mine's already on, but make sure you check enable FTP server. Now open a FTP app on your PC. I'm going to be using FileZilla. You can also copy these using a flash drive, but I'll be using FileZilla because it's simpler. What you're going to want to do is go in the system folder, common, lib. Take all of these files here and copy these to the SCE modules folder in the user folder of ShadPS4. The user folder, if you did not create a portable folder, is press Windows R. This is for Windows. It's in percent appdata percent / ShadPS4. This is the new user folder. Now, what you're going to want to do is take all these files, copy them into the sys modules folder. This again will take a while, so let that finish. Once that's done transferring, you can go ahead and close out FileZilla, turn off your PS4 if you're doing this from a PS4, and you're good to go. Your DX is all set up. Next thing to do is controllers. This has gotten a little bit simpler, a little bit more complicated, depends on a lot of different things. If you have a PS3 controller, PS3 instrument, assuming you are on Windows, you can just plug in your PS3 controller, crack guitar on P3 mode, modded guitar that you can set to PS3 mode. Those will all just work. Only on Windows though. You won't need to bind them. Just plug in and play. If you're on Linux, you will need to configure those however you do that on Linux. If you have a Xbox cracked guitar, so one that does not have a PS3 mode, you can use this mapping here in one of the custom PC dials with the whammy bar set to left stick up, select set to right stick down, and tilt as well set to right stick down. Now, that's all good and all, but for those of you who don't have either, I will still be using my cracked guitar here as an example, but just assume it's not one of the guitars I mentioned, so we using a RAFnet, standard Xbox 360 controller, something like that. What you're going to need to do is get X360CE, HID hide, and Vision Bus. All will be linked in the description. I already have those downloaded. So I will just show you how to correctly set up your X360 CE. Open it up. This should be the latest version of X360 CE, so version 4. And you'll see here, this is what you'll have when you first load it. I will turn on my crack guitar here. Just assume that this is, I have it currently in Xbox guitar emulation mode, which is basically Explorer emulation. So add your guitar. As you can see, shows up as an Explorer here because that's what it's emulating. If you have messed with any of the PC Guitar Hero games, Guitar Hero 3 PC, most likely, then the mapping is very similar to that here in X360 CE. A is green, B is red, Y is yellow, X is blue, left bumper is orange, that's all the same, D-pad, all the same. The differences are in whammy and tilt. Whammy is left stick up, as you can see it's already bound here. So pressing the stick, the whammy bar all the way down should have the left stick in the all the way up position. Right there you can see the plus go all the way up. And tilt is right stick down. I'll just map it to the button because I have tilt disabled on my crack guitar. So it should be doing that right there when you're tilted. If you want to map the select button to activate not via tilt but via a button, you'll have to map it to D-pad left for Rivals. Leaving it as select works fine in 1.08 with Deluxe installed, but left D-pad is how it works in Rivals. Another thing in X360 CE, if you have a Rock Band guitar or a drum kit with cymbals, the solo button has an extra input, and that should be this left stick click here. So just an example, imagine that pressing the A button here, this is the green button, and then if I press the green solo fret, it did those two inputs. You would set this second input to the left stick click here. And that's the same for cymbals. They'll have the extra left stick click that you'll have to add there. You can see that more easily with a different like gamepad tester outside of X360 CE. So just see which button maps to only the solo button instead of the solo button and the regular button. Once that's done, pretty much good to go, at least for X360 CE. Next thing you're gonna want to do is set up hid hide. You'll see a bunch of stuff already set up in my hid hide. The important things to note is in the applications tab, make sure this checkmark inverse application cloak, make sure it's checked. Press the plus button and go to wherever you extracted ShadPS4 to, and double click on the ShadPS4.exe file. That's done. Devices tab, check off the unmapped guitar or whatever controller you have. That's the one that is not going to say Xbox 360 for Windows. This is most likely your mapped controller. And of course, make sure all three of these down here in the bottom left are checked on the devices tab, and that's good to go. Once you're done with that, you're going to want to make some adjustments to the ShadPS4 configuration file. This is for those of you that have a mapped guitar, not one that works automatically out of the box. What you're going to want to do is go to the user folder, which I already mentioned how to get there earlier. In case you forgot, Windows R, %appdata %/ShadPS4, click OK. It'll take you here. Open this config.toml file and scroll down to the input section, and you will see all of these special pad class with numbers. This number corresponds to your controller number. To check your controller number in ShadPS4, you have to open the game and press start to load yourself into the game. In Rock Band 4 specifically, the bottom bar, you will see your username that you set in ShadPS4. If it's just the username, it's special pad class 1. If it says dash, if it has a dash and then a number, that number is the special pad class that you're going to want to adjust. So player 2, player 3, player 4. I just have one controller connected, so I will be changing use special pad 1. Set that to true. This also applies for the configured cracked guitar, by the way, not just bound via X360 CE or the Linux equivalent. And then special pad class 1, since I'm setting that to true, set this to 1 for guitar or 2 for drums. Since I'm showing off a guitar, I have it set to 1. That's the only things you need to change manually in the config.toml file. Go ahead and save that, close out of that. And now for config changes that can be made in ShadPS4 itself. Pretty simple, a lot simpler now. So in the graphics tab, you can change this present mode. This is how VSync works. So you can either turn on VSync off or mess with the other VSync modes. I haven't really messed with this personally. I just leave it on mailbox. Works fine for me. But you may have a better experience, less input lag, less delay if you change this. VBlank frequency, this is now different. Instead of being a divider, this is the exact frame rate that you want the game to run at. I will set this to 144 Hz, which is my monitor's refresh rate. FSR here, this is upscaling stuff, not really necessary for me since it's going to be running at 1080p. I have a 1080p monitor, so that's not a big deal. Also may not be necessary if you're running DX. I will get to that in a minute. In the input tab, you can set a microphone if you want to play vocals, so you don't have to bind a guitar or drums controller, you're just trying to sing. Set your microphone here. It's all good. And finally, this log tab. If you want the game to run smoother, it's recommended to add a log filter because as it stands, Rock Band 4 on ShadPS4 spams the log a lot, and that could cause lag depending on many different factors. Best practice, if you are not going to be reporting any bugs, then if you are running into issues, it's recommended to remove the log filter. Just remember, if you are using a custom build of ShadPS4, you cannot report it to ShadPS4 themselves, and these logs are essentially worthless. Although, if you send a log, there may be some helpful things. If you're having issues running DX, we may be able to point you in the right direction. But in most cases, it's best to just either completely uncheck enable logging or enable a log filter asterisks, $, critical with a capital C, which will reduce the log spam, but if the game crashes, you will most likely get more information on why it crashes. And I also missed in the user tab, you can set your username here, which I will do. Click apply, click save. Now everything's set up. Your controller should be bound. Your ShadPS4 is configured. And you have Deluxe installed. Go ahead and just open the game right up. Now, once you get to the title screen here in Rock Band 4 Deluxe, if you have Rock Band 4 Deluxe, you may notice that the background is not moving at all. This is intentional. This is to avoid crashing NVIDIA and Intel graphics cards. I don't want to do that. I don't care. So if you want to turn the backgrounds back on, if you are on AMD, you can simply go to the Deluxe settings, go to Visual Settings, and turn menu backgrounds back on. Now, this will pop up a warning. Basically, if you're on an NVIDIA card and this crashes your game, you will have to go into your Rock Band 4 Deluxe files and delete a file. That way you can restore functionality. I will go ahead and imagine I have an AMD card. Just press yes and click OK. Then next time you restart the game, you will be good to go. You will have menu backgrounds back on. Since I am on NVIDIA, I will also need to toggle on this Fix NVIDIA driver crash. Again, just press OK. You're good to go. And then venues are also disabled by this. So to turn venues back on, click Select Venue, and then you can either set a specific venue or go random, and then you're good to go. Another emulation-specific thing for Rock Band 4 Deluxe on ShadPS4 is the Set Resolution button here. You can set any resolution all the way to the lowest of 1024 by 576, all the way up to 4K. A lot of options here. The game will be less stable and run slower at higher resolutions. That's just how a higher resolution works. But the game might run better if you set a lower resolution. Just a fair word of warning, setting any resolution that is not 1920 by 1080 will change the scaling of some things in the game. So most noticeable is going to be text. If you are on a lower resolution, text is going to be much bigger. If you're on a higher resolution, text is going to be smaller. That's just how Rock Band 4 Rivals does its resolution setting. Don't know why that happens. Last but not least is installing DLC. This is about the same as installing the game. It just goes to a different location, and there's a couple extra steps involved with getting the DLC running correctly. So what you're going to want to do is, again, open up PkgEditor. Make sure you have a package version of the DLC file. It has to be PS4 package format. If you do not know how to make a PS4 package out of a Rock Band custom song, follow the Rock Band Customs tutorial, Rock Band 4 Customs tutorial linked in the description. Once you've got a Rock Band 4 custom DLC file, or like here I have the Rivals expansion unlock, I'll be showing both even though they work the same. It's just to show how you can install multiple packages. Drag in your custom DLC package. You can see it here. And you're going to want to click Export to GP4 project. Again, same as you did in the game installation, but this goes to a different location, which was shown at the start of this when you were setting up ShadPS4. So for me, my DLC folder is %appdata %/ShadPS4. And it's the add.conf folder here. This base DLC folder, once you're here, you're going to want to create a new folder, title it Kusa 02084 or 2901, depending on which version of Rock Band 4 you're running. 2084 is the more common one. It's the US version. 2901 is the EU version. Said that before. I'll say it again. Then you're going to want to create another new folder in this Kusa folder. And this naming is very specific. It must match this string of letters and numbers after this _00 here. _00 dash should be the last thing of the DLC package. You can double check if you've got this named correctly. It should be 16 characters long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I did name it correctly. That's done. Open up that folder and then click Save. You see package exported. That's done. That's how you install a DLC file. I'll show it again with the Rivals unlock. Click Export to GP4 project. Go to this Kusa 2084. New folder. RB expansion pack 1. Go into that. Save. Done. You go ahead and reopen ShadPS4, and you should see your DLC loaded into Rock Band 4. And of course, from my changes done earlier, the menu backgrounds will be turned back on, and I will have a venue. Another thing to note, if you have menu backgrounds off, there will be some menus that you cannot return from once you've opened them. The only fix to that is simply just either closing out the game and reopening it, or turning on menu backgrounds. Those are the only solutions. Oh, as you can see, I now have menu backgrounds on, even though I have an NVIDIA GPU, which I can show you if I open up Task Manager here. Go to here. You can see I have an RTX 4060 Ti, and I have menu backgrounds on. As you can see, bit buggy, all of the player characters in this black and white filter look completely white, but in-game, without the black and white filter, you will see it is a missing texture. As you can see, I have Rivals shows up correctly. If I sort by source, there's my custom song I installed, and it all works. Of course, there's plenty of customization options in Rock Band 4 Deluxe. Go nuts. If you have, if you want to calibrate better than the built-in calibration, there is a enter calibration numbers option in the Deluxe settings menu. It adjusts by 1 millisecond instead of the default 5 in the regular calibration menu. And if you turn on precision or calibration mode, you can also adjust the calibration numbers while in game. So you don't even have to exit out of the song you're playing. You can adjust the calibration right there, resume playing, and see if it feels any better. Anyway, that's about it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoy Rock Band 4 Rivals Deluxe on ShadPS4. Peace.